So go ahead and find a comfortable place to sit or lie down. That's always an option. Take a couple deep breaths. Ground and center yourself. Grab a spray of your choice and give a little moment of sensual delight to breathe in and ground you into the present. And then just close your eyes and take a few moments to check in and tune in. So noticing where you start from. So we'll start with the physical body. So just scan your physical body. Kind of noticing tight spots, really spots that feel really good. Kind of noticing where your attention is naturally drawn in your body. Sometimes it's lower body, upper body. And then tune into your energy to know kind of how energized you feel. Do you feel tired? Do you feel energetic? Do you feel like you need to move? Do you feel slower today? And really take the time to kind of notice those subtleties, right? Because we don't just exist on a straight line of energy, right? There's days that we do have more and less. And so it's nice to check in and to really be honest with what you have to work with. Check in mentally, noticing what your mind's doing. Do you have a lot of thoughts going through your head? Are they about a certain theme? How active is your mind? What are the quality of the thoughts? Are they light and fluffy? Are they heavy? Are they sharp? Noticing emotionally if anything's present today. Noticing your connection to feeling, because in Scorpio, we get to feel a lot. Sometimes through another person triggering us, through the power of relationships to wake us up. And so sometimes that's our access point to feeling. So noticing what, if anything's there today. No matter what you found this morning, welcome it into your practice, right? With Scorpio, we really want to be as honest and authentic with ourselves as we can, because that's the energy we want to bring towards the world, this authenticity, this realness, this not needing to hide who we are, how we are, but meeting one another in a resource place that we can take care of ourselves, but yet we are able to be ourselves. So the concept we're going to work with today, just saw that, I'm going to let one more person in, is the C.A.R.E concept. We worked on tapping on Monday or Thursday, and that's the C.A.R.E concept. So when we're meeting strong emotions or really strong thoughts or anything that feels like it's taking us off our resourced, internally strong place, a great way to respond to ourselves is through C.A.R.E. And the first acronym of C.A.R.E is compassion. So that's meeting ourselves like we'd meet any one of us, right? If any of you noticed one day that something was going on and you voiced that, we would all probably naturally have compassion. And so it's how you would treat your best friend, how you treat an animal, what you would do with that. So that's that compassionate heart of attuning, right? Of understanding that there's something that doesn't feel right. The second one is accept. And so with accept, we don't try to fight that we're feeling this way. So we're feeling angry, or if we're feeling really triggered, we don't try and say we're not, right? Or we don't go, why is this triggering me, right? We just accept that we are feeling this way, as momentary as it might be. The next one, the R, is release the story. So much when we feel these strong emotions is we go right into a story of why we're feeling that way, what the other person's doing, the story around it, and we get out of the feeling and we get into the mind. The feeling never gets to pass through our body, and it never gets to actually kind of go through us in a way that lets us to still and integrate it. So releasing the story doesn't mean that there isn't a reason. It doesn't mean that there isn't something later that we'll need to think about or perceive, but it just means that the story sometimes makes the emotion worse, sometimes makes it confusing. And so we just release the story, and then the last thing we ease the body. And so we do whatever we can to make the body a comfortable place to feel the emotions. So that might mean putting your hand on your heart. It might be massaging or tapping. And so this is just a process, right? And you can just do this and remind yourself of this when you're experiencing this. Then over time, right, you can get kind of past that initial peak, and then maybe there's clarity that comes. Maybe there's something that needs to be said or done. So as we're practicing today and you find things arising, that's a way you can practice this, is through care. But one of the biggest overarching ways that we can use our practice is through finding more ease in the body. Because when our body is more easeful, right, at a starting place, it's easier for us to navigate stressful times or triggering situations because our body's at ease, and that kind of correlates to our mind being at more ease, right, and feeling safer to feel. So no matter what you do today, just being able to find some ease in your body is helpful. So we'll practice with that today. That's what I want to offer as kind of our guidepost and our practice for emotional and mental resilience. So bring your hands to meet your heart, rub your hands, and see if within what I've shared or just within what you've found this morning, there is an intention for which you want to practice today. So take a couple of breaths to find that intention and to feel that intention at your heart and into how you will offer yourself today. And then take a deep breath in with your intention. Exhale it out. Nice. Okay, you guys. We're going to lie onto our backs. So you can move your block if you're sitting on one. And go ahead and come onto your back, and then right away grab onto your knees. And then let your knees go and feel a stretch through your low back. So as I fully extend my arms, my low back should get a little longer with the weight of the legs. So I kind of unarch the back in a sense. And then as the exhale, we'll round and feel that belly contract, feel the tailbone curl, and then inhale, lengthen. So it's a little bit like a cat-cow. Exhale, inhale, keep the neck relaxed. Exhale, inhale. Now as we're working with the psoas this month, we want to be sure that we can try to feel as much as when we use the psoas, that the front tissues of the pelvis, can we soften them towards the back of the pelvis? So you may not feel like you can physically turn that on or off, so just imagine a softening. And sometimes your hand can be that compassionate, easeful touch to remind you. A few more. One more. Nice. And then go ahead and place your feet down, wiggle your wrists. Get your hands awakened. Wiggle your feet. So you might lift your feet up and wiggle your toes, just connecting to all the extremities. And then hug your right knee in, take your left leg up, and I'm going to say point or floint, which is flex the toes back. So dorsiflex, but then plantar flex, but then let the toes come back. And then nice and slowly stretching from that inner pubic line of the left leg, inner knee line, inner ankle, slowly take that leg down. Now with this right leg, let that leg release like we just did. So there's not so much pulling on the front of the right hip. And just feel a slight little stretch there. It may not be as big. So letting that arm kind of press into the hand a little bit, letting the left front of the pelvis muscles relax. Trying to draw energy from your pelvis to the inner knee, to the inner ankle. So really anchoring your energy down to the earth. And then dragging that left heel in, and then looping your hand over the left kneecap or shin, right leg up. Point or floint, and then slowly draw that leg down, really stretching from the inner pelvis line all the way to the floor. If you can get there, and if you can't, then I can play with how much pull and push I have with my hands to stabilize, and then letting the muscles of the pelvis relax towards the back body, and then feeling an active reach and stretch from that inner right thigh line. inner right knee, inner right ankle. And again, really trying to let this part of the pelvis, the front pelvis, soften back. So that stretch can be from a deeper place. And then another breath or two. And then dragging that heel in nice and slow. And then we'll place both feet down on the mat. And then just little pelvic rocks forward and back like you're doing a cat-cow. So that same kind of just relaxing of the pelvis. Kind of waking up the low back. This is a good one to let the back stretch a little bit. And then take a deep breath in. Feel your hands lift with your breath. And on the exhale, blow it out like you're cooling hot soup. Feel the muscles of the lower abdominals contract. And then inhale. Blow it out through your mouth forcefully. Feel how that tightens these deeper abdominal muscles. And then 2 more times. Those are the stabilizing muscles we want to use. 1 more. Nice. And then grab onto your knees and roll like a ball. So I'm going to roll up to a C, keep my C-shaped spine. Roll up and back, just massaging your spine. So I'm going to keep my chin tucked in a bit. I'm going to use the core a little bit. We're going to get back to that core work, but first we're just going to warm up the spine. And then a couple more. If this bothers you to come all the way up, you can just come up halfway. Okay, and then go ahead and sweep the legs to the side of your body and then come to all fours. And then right away, go ahead and plant those hands firmly so your index fingers face forward, thumbs are kind of turned out and stretching out from the base of the wrist, fingers out, or pinky fingers rather. Find that core stabilization. So that's not that you suck in too much, but you find again that stabilization at the lower pelvis. And then we're going to cat-cow 4 times. So inhale, really feel the belly drop, the shoulders draw together. Exhale, push from thigh bones to knees and from shoulders to hands. Relax your head. 3 more. Really slow, feeling the articulation of your spine from tailbone to upper back to head and neck. So you're slowing it down just a little bit. And then 1 more. And then exhale. And then inhale to all fours, and then exhale to downward facing dog. And then your first time in down dog, you can pedal the legs by bending and straightening, kind of letting your pelvis kind of turn and tilt. So I'm keeping my arms strong, but I'm turning my pelvis to the left and I'm turning it to the right. This just kind of gives a little stretch to the pelvis. We want to wake up pelvis and spine first. So really use your breath. 2 more. And then from downward facing dog, we're gonna bend those knees and squat kind of into a low squat. And then we're gonna lift up and roll forward, plank pose, and then bend the knees and roll back. So you're making like a big circle. If this is too much, take your knees down and pat your back and come back. So you can do it on the knees or off the knees 4 times. Kind of like you're moving your pelvis in a circle all the way to downward facing dog. And then walk your hands to your feet so you're standing in a forward bend. And you can widen your feet as much as you need. Grab onto your elbows and sway side to side. Starting to get a little bit of a side stretch. So bend your knees generously, especially if anything's going on with the low back or the hamstrings. Like lighten up the hamstring intensity. So go side to side, let the spine drape, and then let the hands release to the floor. Bend the knees, let the head drop. The back of the neck is long. Feel your heels root, feel your tailbone root, and roll up nice and slowly. Head, neck, and shoulders is last. Arms reach up. We're going to do this 4 times. So you're either going to hip hinge, and Corey, this one may not work for you, so you might roll down for your low back. And then again, we're gonna bend the knees, roll up. So similar to what we did, spinal roll, arms stretch up, inhale. But again, I am hip hinging, keeping my core nice and contained, and then release the head, bend the knees. So really just feeling the ways that our spine can move and articulate. Last time, bend knees, roll, head, neck, and shoulders. Arms stretch up, inhale, stretch. Get your spine long, hover for a moment, tailbone long, stretching up, and then exhale all the way forward. Gonna twist a little bit. So bend the left knee and take the right arm up for a twist. And then take the right arm down, bend the right knee, stretch the left arm up, twist. And then release the left arm, bend the left knee, stretch the right arm up. And then release. You have a couple more, so you're going at your own pacing. You can use a block. So we're really working the hip movement. So do let the pelvis drop and twist a little bit. Should feel good for your low back. The last cycle, and your head can relax. And here's the last one. And then you're going to walk your hands out to plank. And we'll do a little twist here, kind of like a side plank. And then hands down, side plank on the other side. Just a brief one. Downward facing dog. Shift forward. And then again, side plank one side. Side plank the other side. Downward facing dog. And you have two more. Nice and slow. You can put your knees down if that's better. And then last one. And then downward facing dog. And then just breathing here. You're going to step your left leg forward and then come out to a horse stance. So that's toes out, heels in. Press your hands into your thighs to come up. So this is going to be some lateral flexions. We're going to take that right arm up and over. And then you can round the shoulders if you want. Left arm up and over. Both arms up, stretch. And then side stretch to your right. You can round if you want. Side stretch to your left. Both arms up. Go to your left. Round and release. Go to your right. Both arms up. Go to your right. Round and release. Go to your left. Both arms up. Stretch. And on the exhale, bring your hands back down to your thighs. And then down to the floor. And then come towards your left leg. And then come back to plank to downward facing dog. Breathe in, breathe out. So just kind of feeling out the first initial movements through your spine. And then go ahead and put your shins down, roll back onto your back. Now we're going to go back into some core stability work that also will open through the psoas. So we want to stabilize the lower core muscles and then start to stretch out the psoas. The psoas is a deep core muscle. It's one of the deepest ones you have. We want to kind of articulate the stability and the lengthening. So you're going to bring your legs to a tabletop position. So make sure your knees are not too far forward so that you constrict the front of the hips. So we want to keep the knees over the hips as much as you can. And you're just going to tap a little further away, tap a little further away, bring the knee up. So I'm going to, again, stabilize by bringing the low belly back and slightly up. I tap, I move my thigh bone a little further, get a little further, and then I bring it up. Use your breath. So I'm going to go exhale, 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 inhale, bring it up. And then and then just keep going. So what we're trying to do is not let the pelvis rock forward with the leg. We're trying to keep these muscles descending. So I might even put my hand there or my fingers at my waist. Remember, knee comes up to vertical, not all the way up. And I'm gonna come watch just to make sure. Really feel that leg stretch away so that you're getting that front of the hip to get a little bit, yeah, nice work, you guys. Get a little bit more length, awesome. Yeah. So belly pulls down, back of the heart space broad, really nice, you guys. Yeah. Use your breath. Good, and if it's only 2 taps, that's fine. And if you can't go as far away from your leg as you want, that's fine. You're just really feeling the stability. So these stabilizing muscles is what you use to like lift heavy objects, to push things, but they're also really tied to our sense of like stability. So it's really good to feel connected to these if you want to feel centered and to really ground yourself. We're gonna do one more set on each side. Keep your breath really strong, one more. Good, and then go ahead and slowly lower the feet to the floor. Rub your hands together. And then placing your hands at the front of the hips, take 5 deep breaths. Kind of telling that heat and that warmth that you're building here. Kind of, again, allowing it to be like vibrant energy that you're going to spread through your body. So really putting grounded, stable energy throughout your body, especially into the psoas. One more breath. And then catch the back of your thighs, roll like a ball. So here's an option, sit up tall and then roll back without hands, sit up tall. Now if your psoas is bothering you or if you feel this is too much, keep your hands and just sit up tall, feet down. And I can roll back, roll up. Just kind of up leveling it a little bit, one more time. And then place your feet down. Swish your legs behind you, come to all fours. So we're gonna continue that same little flow, but now we're gonna work through the hips, okay? So this time, instead of doing cat-cow, we're gonna make a hip circle. So I'm gonna press back, let my hips come to the center. So my cat-cow becomes like a circle cow. So turn and stretch. Go the second direction for 4. So just changing the circle. And I'm trying to really move my pelvis in my thighs, the socket of my hips. I'm going to get as much space as I can. And then when you're ready, all fours to downward facing dog. So for this one, we're going to lift the hips up high, or the heels up high rather, sorry. Drop your heels to the left, bend your knees and squat. Lift your heels up high, drop your heels to the right, bend your knees and squat. So you're going to get a little bit of twist, a little bit of hip stretch. Lift your heels up high, drop them to the left, bend your knees. Lift your heels up high, drop them to the right, bend your knees. This time we'll hold, hips up high to the left, drop them to the left, squat. Feel your shoulders strong, so head relaxes. And I'm just letting those hips soften down where I get a nice little stretch in the side of my back. Let the head go. Then heels up high, drop them to the right, bend your knees. You're trying to keep your shoulders as square as you can. Sometimes it's impossible. Good, and as you're ready, heels come up high, heels down, downward facing dog. Just a couple breaths to reset. Now from here, we're going to come forward, drop your knees for like a modified upward dog. So do the hips drop a bit. Feel again a stretch from your inner pelvis, your inner knees, with your chest lift. And then from here, we're going to come back, tuck toes under and push hands away. So it's almost like a hip hinge. Now it's a different stretch. Bring your hips forward, modified upward dog. So as the hips come forward, I do intone the belly and lift. And then press it up and back. You can even hover the knees if you want for more charging of the legs. 2 more. So make sure you don't feel a pull in the low back. So a lot of push through the hands. And as you come back, you can hover the knees if you want a little bit more. Last time. And downward facing dog. So we'll end. Walk your hands to your feet, top, bottom, back of the mat. Then again, forward fold. So if you need to bend your knees generously, please do that. Or separate your feet a little wider. You can sway if you want, or walking your hands to one side and then the other. That can feel nice. Okay, and then from here, we're going to change it up. So we're going to bend the knees, and it's going to be Utkatasana. And then you're going to bind the hands and forward fold. Now, if that doesn't work for you, then I want you to, when you bind instead of binding the hands, just take the palms up. Bend the knees, lift up, and then exhale, forward fold. We're going to go a little slower so that you can feel this one. So lift the arms, lift up, exhale, bow. Bend the knees, lift up, exhale, and bow. Last time for chair pose, now hold 5 breaths, just sitting back, starting to wake up the legs. Try and, again, as you sit back, soften the front of the hip so that you can feel like you're lining the back of your pelvis. And then exhale, forward fold. And if you can't bind the arms, remember just palms reaching together, wrists reaching away from the front of the shoulder heads. And then when you're ready, releasing the hands down to the floor, walk to downward facing dog. Okay, we're gonna take the right leg and we're gonna lift it up and back. We're gonna step it forward between the hands, and I'm gonna go, say, a little bit wider. And we're gonna drop the left knee, and we're gonna lift the left arm and twist. So I am twisting as I press into my right thigh and lifting. And then this hand's gonna come down, and then I'm gonna step back, downward facing dog. And I'm gonna go left side. So I'm gonna lift it up, get a little stretch in that from the left hip, step it wide, drop to my right knee, twist. And then again, I'm gonna go back. So you're just gonna keep alternating. You have a couple more, and then we're gonna hold. So take your time. Then this time we're gonna hold. So go ahead and take that right leg up. Hold for a moment. So feel the traction of the left heel down, the right leg lift. Try to turn that inner thigh of the right leg to face, to lift up so that you don't have the thigh externally rotated. Then step the right leg wide outside your hands, drop to your left knee. And then as you press the right hand into the right thigh, lift the left arm. So feel that twist. So soften your right hip crease. So can you feel those muscles like get a little softer, even though they're working? And as the pelvis releases forward to the degree it can, from kind of behind the navel, twist. And then from here, hands to the floor. And I'm gonna now curl my right toes back and let the right leg fall open. So I wanna lift my hips back enough that I can feel the tailbone lengthen just a bit to let my hips soften forward. I'm gonna give you a visualization here. So from your right pubic bone, can you feel a stretch to your right kind of inner thigh? So kind of feel that diagonal reach. Now from the center of your navel, can you feel a lift up towards your chest? Just breathe here and open through the front of the right hip and the right groin. So we're getting the psoas on each side. Then from here, go ahead and walk that right foot back so that now you're gonna frame it. And we're gonna come into a warrior two. So you're gonna go heel to arch. I'm gonna switch positions so I can show you. And we're gonna come into a warrior two. So just plain warrior two. So we wanna make sure the outer edge of the left foot is pressing away and that this left hip point faces slightly forward. So my hips are not square, I have them cocked a bit. Then from here, again, I want to feel from that right pubic bone a stretch towards my right groin and feel that release, right? We want to feel more length. Then from the behind the right navel, I'll lift up towards my right chest, that same work. So even though we're in an active shape, you want to feel how the psoas can really lengthen. Okay, so take a deep breath, and we're going to move through some shapes. So we're going to inhale, lift the arms up, turn the left toes out, warrior two on the left. We're going to do this dynamic for a while. So I'm just spinning the left toes in, right toes spin out, and then I soften into a lunge. And then push it away. So we're turning at the hip joint, right? So I'm spinning at the heel, but I want you to feel the whole thigh bone turn. So this is good hip work, which is good for that psoas so that I can isolate hip movement from pelvic movement. Now the next time you turn it in, hold it up, stretch up. Then from here, bend the left knee and take your hands to the floor. So this is going to be kind of like that same pose we did on Thursday where we worked again that right inner pubic line. So I don't want you to go so deep that you feel pulling at the kneecap, but enough that you can feel the sitting bones reaching behind you. So kind of feel that groin stretch. So you're going to stay here for another moment and just kind of ease into that stretch. And then you're going to take your hands out to the side and we're going to come up and I'm going to pivot right toes out. This time it's a triangle shape. So I'm going to press my hips back, scoop my right hip under, and then slowly ease so that I can feel again that same right pubic bone to that right inner thigh. And if you want to block, I'd highly recommend it so that you don't go too deep, right? That you can feel that easefulness of right pubic bone, right inner thigh, right inner knee, right ankle. And feel that left psoas softening into the back body. Okay, take another deep breath. See if you can really stretch that right side of your pelvis. It might actually move your pelvis when you release that. And then bend the right knee. Come back into a warrior two. Deep breath. And then cartwheel your hands down to the floor. Downward facing dog. So we're going to go left side. So the left leg lifts up, right heel down. I'm lifting from the inner thigh of my left seam so I can feel that stretch. Take another deep breath, and it's left leg wide outside your left hand, right knee down, and then I twist. You can look down if that helps. And then both hands down, flex your left toes back, externally rotate that left thigh. So I can be really high, or I can let my hips come forward. But what I want to feel on the right side, that's the leg that's straight, is as I kind of move the muscles of the front of my right hip back a bit, I lengthen down to my inner knee, inner ankle, up to my heart. There's a long line. And on the left, I cue into that pubic bone line that runs from pubic bone to inner thigh, because that's the line of the psoas. Then I go to the inner knee and the inner ankle, and I'm just trying to, again, traction that wide. Feel my breath through my awareness. Even if I don't feel like it's doing anything, I just breathe and put my awareness there. Trying to find ease in that area. Okay, from here, go ahead and send your left foot back, seal it flat, get your warrior two legs, and then open up warrior two. So this time we're going to stay low as we transfer. So I'm in warrior two, and I'm just holding first. Again, that right hip point will come forward a bit because my pelvis is like it kind of at an angle. It's not flush to the front of the mat. Then from here, as I do that, I let this psoas soften into the back body, which is going to allow my right hip to come forward and down a bit, but it's softened so that I can actually stretch to the inner thigh line of my right foot. On the left, I'm going to feel from this pubic bone line a stretch to my inner knee. So it's like the pelvis gets to roll forward a bit, but from the center of the belly, I lift up. So it's a lot of detailed work, but that's how the subtle body, right, the psoas, which is subtle muscle, That's how we have to work with it, is just that visualization. Now from here, turn toes out, heels in, come to horse. Same thing, I rotate at the thighs, and then I come to warrior two. So try your best to move through those shapes, horse, warrior two. So you can go slower if you need. Turn thighs out, turn thighs in. Just a way of moving energy through the hips. We're going to do one more time to the right and then one more time to the left. Okay. Now just pivot so you have toes out or toes forward, heels in, arms reach up. Then bend the right knee as much as you can to take the hands to the floor. And again, I can stay pretty high or I can go pretty low, but check out any tensioning in the left knee. Let your pelvis roll forward so your sitting bones roll back and up. And you're just going to deepen if you want, or you can play with that bending and straightening so you can get a nice little stretch from that left pubic bone, left inner thigh, left inner ankle. And then go ahead and press it all the way back up. Turn your left toes forward. We're going to go triangle. So arms out. Again, pressing the hips back. Taking my time to come forward. So trying to feel the moment that you start to feel a pull, which tells you up, come out, stay there, and that maybe that's your triangle. And over time, you go deeper, right? We don't want to go so far that the psoas shortens to try and hold us up, right? We want to ease there. So we're going a little slower than we might progress. So maybe it's a really, really, really easy triangle today. One more breath. And then we're going to tip up and back, warrior two. Cartwheel the hands down to the floor, downward facing dog. Downward facing dog. And just pausing there to feel all that just went on in the hips. Come forward to plank pose, come all the way down to your belly. So first make a forehead pillow. So I'm going to allow my forehead to rest on double palms so I can not feel my neck kind of hurting here. Bend the right knee, bend the left knee. First point the toes and then flex the feet. Do that a few times, point and flex. My legs are hip width distance. And then we're going to exhale, exhale, and I'm going to pull my heels in towards my hips or towards my back hip points using the muscles of my hamstring. So I don't want my butt to come up. I want to keep the hips relaxing forward. So it's exhale, exhale, inhale, and we're going to lift. We're going to lift the legs and hover. We're going to lift the chest, and then we come down. Exhale, exhale, inhale. Exhale, exhale, inhale. So you should get a mild stretch to the front of the thighs as you do this, maybe not a huge one. Keep going, 3, 2, and 1. All the way down. Shake your hips out. So go ahead and bend your right knee, flex the toes back, and lift the thigh. So you can feel a little stretch in the front of the right hip. So keep lifting the strength of your glute. You can point the toe if you prefer, but feel that thigh lift, and then set it down, release. Bend your left knee, you can point or flex. Use the strength of your glute, the bottom of your glute, the upper hamstring to press up. Feel that stretch across the front of the left thigh. And then relax it down. So we're going to transition from here. So place your hands back. First, let's do a cobra just to kind of open the chest one more time. So shoulders up and back. Pull the hands back so you get really long. Kneecaps are lifted. Pubic bone descends. And then we lift up. So it's whatever cobra feels good for you. Shoulders down your back. Neck is easy. Opening through the chest. And then we come down, tuck your toes, all fours pose, and maybe a child's pose unless you prefer a down dog. And then just take that in. Nice deep breaths. So we're going to move now to shoulders, and we're going to mobilize shoulders because surprisingly, shoulders and hips really correlate a lot together. So if the hips feel really locked, generally if the energy wants to come up, the shoulders will have to stabilize then if the hips are not strong and stable. So sometimes shoulder tension is a result of hip tightness or hip, there's not enough adequate hip strength or mobility, and vice versa, right? So just kind of noticing how mobilizing energy in your shoulders might affect your hips. Okay, so take a deep breath here. And so in cat-cow, we're going to do those scapular push-ups we've done a million times. So your arms stay straight, you guys. You can be in all fours, or you can walk your knees back or come to plank for more challenge. Okay, so again, we're going to let the shoulders drop between the arms, press it away. So push, pull, or pull, push. Almost like you're stamping it and then relaxing it. So we're not bending and straightening the elbows. Keep the core contained. Strong arms, you should feel the shoulder blades drawing together and then releasing apart. Yeah, really good. Keep that neck long, you guys. Yeah. Really good, you guys. Awesome. Everybody's got that. So no elbow bend. Let's do 3 more. Starts to really wake up energy in your shoulders. Nice. And then coming up to plank to downward facing dog. So here's going to be the shoulder when we come forward to plank. You can put your knees down, thumb up, thumb to palm up, come back forward, plank, down dog. Come forward to plank. Your knees can be down, thumb up, palm down, palm up, palm down, thumb up, downward facing dog. You have 2 more. You can go as slow as you want. I want you to get that feeling of mobilizing your shoulders while strengthening your low belly. So that's why plank is great, but knee plank is just as challenging sometimes when you're trying to keep the hips from moving. Okay, downward facing dog. Breathe in, breathe out. 1 more, and then walking your hands to your feet back of the mat. So you can, if you want to give the neck a little stretch, you can let the hands interlace and press the pinky line down and kind of away from the thumb line. Now, I kind of like that when you can go side to side. Okay, relax the hands down, roll up nice and slow. Shoulder work for the forward folds. I'm going to face you just so you can see me. We're going to inhale. You can go palms down. Inhale, inhale, exhale. It's a long, slow exhale. You can change how your hands are facing. They can face down for a round and then sweep up. Or your palms can face up. Just kind of feeling the difference in your shoulders. Long, slow exhale. You're breathing in snippets, so a little bit fuller each time. We have 4 more. You remember to bend your knees if this is bothering your low back quite a lot, so that you take out the pressure in the hamstring and the spinal ligaments. 1 more. And then fold forward. Breathe in, breathe out. Walk it back to downward facing dog. Nice, strong breath. Let your big toes touch. Lift your heels up. Left palm goes slightly forward. Come to a side plank. And again, you can be stacked on your legs. Right arm up. Right arm over your head, stretch, and then take it down to the floor, heels up. And then again, drop your heels to the right, peel that left arm up. Stretch it over your head, big stretch. And then sweep it down. You have two more, one more on each side. Just kind of working that shoulder. And then downward facing dog. Just pause, breathe, feel all that in. Okay, take your right leg and lift it up and back. This time, bend the right knee. Like we did before, can you press through your heel so you get your right thigh bone a little higher, and then straighten the right leg up a bit. Maybe you get a little bit more frontal right hip stretch, like a standing split. Deep breath in, and then step your right leg forward between your hands. And then right away from here, we're going to seal the back foot flat, and we're going to come into a horse pose. So just kind of a good transition. You're in horse pose, and then we're going to go right arm on top of the left, eagle arms. Kind of combining what we've done, side stretch, relax, side stretch, and then up. We'll go to the second side, side stretch, relax down, side stretch, come up. And then straighten the legs, parallel the feet, lift up with your arms, and then exhale, hinge forward, and just feel those arms heavy. So just remember what arm you have on top. Breathe in, breathe out. And now releasing your hands, take your arms out to the side, halfway lift, bend the knees if you need support for your low back or your hips, arms straight up. And then we're gonna go opposite arm on top. See which one is that for me? Turn toes out. And then again, side stretch. You're just kind of doing a big circle. And you'll go to the other side. So you've got opposite arms, side, down, oh. And then straighten the legs, parallel the big toes, lift up. And then again, you can bend the knees if you need extra support to hinge, and just hang it up here. Okay, releasing the hands. You can bend the knees, arms out to the side, palms down. As your arms come up, palms face up. Lift up, hands to your heart. So turn towards your right leg. Come into a high lunge. So you're going to take your hands back to bind. Okay, so I want shoulders back, so that means open heel to hand, or if you can't do that, just grab your waist. And then again, shoulders together and down, put your left hand in your left hip pocket and squeeze elbows together. Left ear, left shoulder if you can. And if this is not possible with your in high lunge, go ahead and come to low lunge. And as you're relaxing your neck, try to stand strongly from your low core. So feeling that psoas line ground you from left pubic bone, left inner knee, left ankle. And that structure of the right psoas to lift up towards your right heart. So you have two directions so that your neck can relax. Again, knee down if you need it. One more deep breath. Elbows down your back. And then go ahead and take your clasp, open your chest, step forward, big breath in, and then bend your knees fold. Try to traction your shoulders together and away from your ears. If you need to bend your knees, please do. And then using your clasp to push down as you bend your knees, come up. Step back with your right leg, you're in a lunge. And then again, as you bend the elbows to draw elbows together, put them in your right hip pocket. Elbows stretch together, right ear, right shoulder. Then from here, if I need to bring my right knee down, I will. So now let's find grounding from the right psoas. So from the kind of lower belly region, draw a line to your right pubic bone. Then from your right pubic bone, your right inner thigh, your right inner knee, your right foot, that's what's grounding you. Then stabilize with your left psoas by bringing it from the center of your belly up towards your upper pelvis, upper ribs. That's what's lifting you up. So kind of feel that oppositional energy. Now the right psoas, there's a part of it lifting up too. And then as you're ready, take another really deep breath. Go ahead and release your clasp. Arms stretch up, and then exhale, hands down to the floor, downward facing dog. And then drop to your knees, and then head onto your back. So breath in and out for a moment. We're gonna do another little active core hip stabilization before we go into another hip stretch. So go ahead and interlace your hands behind your head. So first just feel that stretch here as you interlace and let the elbows go long. Kind of feel your collarbones stretch. Hopefully that feels good. So I want you to imagine the psoas getting really long as you use this leg work. And you can either keep your shoulders down or you can add the upper core work. Go ahead and bring right leg in. So option can be just to use the right leg. I can use both legs if I prefer, but I'll be alternating. So I'm going to show you one leg first, okay? So the inhale is the knee just right where it is, right above the hip point. And then you're going to lift the shoulders and reach from that inner pubic line. And then it's going to be inhale, exhale. I'm not pulling on my neck. My elbows lift just slightly so that I have a really firm stance, a firm clasp, around my head. So I'm reaching and stretching. So I'm probably, like 45 degrees. So cinch in at your waist. So pull those hip points together. Muscles go back. Reach the inner thigh line. Ugh, tongue twister. You have about 4 more. You can be doing both legs and alternating. We'll do another round. Or you're on one leg. Last one, relax the feet down. Okay, so if you just did right leg, that's the leg that I want you to keep up. Straighten your leg on the left. Find tree pose. So here's some options. If your body rolls to the right when you do this, grab a block or a bolster and place it underneath your right leg so that you're supported. A blanket would be ideal because you can kind of press into the blanket with the weight, so that you're actually in tree pose. And I want you to feel just the relaxation of energy. So find your navel and go a couple inches wide of your navel and a couple inches down. And that's about where this psoas starts to cut pretty deeply in towards the pubic line. So you can kind of trace that with your hands and then trace that to the inner thigh line. And that's just kind of the muscle that we're trying to relax, the lower psoas. So maybe your hand goes there and just relax and relax. So you might even feel that right hip point get wider from the left. Let the muscles soften towards the back body. So this is a really passive stretch. You might be like, wow, I'm not getting tons of sensation. We're not necessarily looking for that. We're trying to look for relaxation in this lower psoas region. Because that's how you really open this muscle, is to let it kind of let go of tension and straining and overworking, kind of hypertonicity. And the more it relaxes, the more it naturally is long. So if that feels like a good place to stay, go ahead. Otherwise, right arm over your head. So the upper portion of the psoas runs from that same line, like 2 inches to the right of the navel, but now it travels up. And then it attaches at the 12th thoracic vertebra. So you can imagine that region of the psoas lifts and up towards your heart while the lower region descends. So the psoas is about 16 inches in length. It's like huge. So maybe you can feel the release of energy from the lower psoas down and in towards your ankle or your knee. Upper psoas up and out. Just really try to get still and quiet and restful. And remembering that C.A.R.E acronym, whatever's showing up for you: compassion, acceptance, no story, and easing the body. One more breath cycle. Then the right arm can come back if that's the leg that you were working with, and then bringing the right foot up or the right knee up. One more set of that ab work. So I'm going left side unless you're alternating. And then remember, it's exhale, inhale. So we're actively lengthening the lower psoas. So the psoas is also very tied to digestive health. So tightness or restriction in the lower psoas can cause issues with female cycles, with cramping and congestion or stagnation, as well as digestive, constipation, right? Because that muscle goes over many, many centers and organs. So let's do 4 more. And then as you're ready, go ahead and place that arm down. So if you were working the left leg, it's going to come out to the side, and then your right leg straightens. And again, so for me, if I were to let my leg go, it's going to roll my pelvis to the left, right? So it kind of isn't as relaxing. So I'm having to hang. So I'm going to put a bolster or a block underneath my left kneecap or thigh so that I level the hips out. And then from there, I can relax into the block, right? I don't have to feel that I have to try. And then I'm going to, again, find my navel, maybe a couple inches to the left, couple inches down. That's like the psoas line. It's going to go over the pelvis and start to wrap. Then it kind of meets the iliacus muscle, which kind of comes into the back of the pelvis. But let's just keep tracing down towards that pubic line and then out laterally. And that's what we're trying to relax, this kind of area there. So just imagine it getting very relaxed so it can dilate. When you feel that relaxation, you might can notice your hip points can get a little further apart. Maybe there's less tensioning through the knee joint. Maybe there's just a better feeling of well-being in this area. So again, we're not going for a strong sensation of stretch, but just that relaxing, that fight or flight response of the psoas. Either just staying with your hands here or left arm traveling up so that we get the upper region of the left psoas. And it again runs from the center of the pelvis up. So it's again a couple inches away from the navel. And it shoots up towards the spine. So again, you're just kind of feeling that psoas line, whatever you connect to. So since the psoas is the original muscle that attaches to the spine, can you imagine if the psoas is tight or restricted? That's the message it's giving the spine, is the environment, right? The area in the periphery is tight, is congested, is in shock, right, or is in stress mode. And that's what the spine feels. And then that spine, that message that it's sending out through neural impulses, right, up through the brain. The spine goes all the way up towards the brain, right? That's the message that is sent. So we want to relax this muscle that grows from the spine. And then left arm slowly coming back. Using your hand to lift the left leg. Kind of bringing that right heel up, just kind of pausing and connecting to feel how these legs are, what you're noticing. Breathe in and breathe out. So we're going to go a little deeper. So go ahead and catch the back of your thighs and come up. So if you have a block, you can use the block, but I don't tend to actually like the block, but I'll show it to you if you're not going to go all the way back. So we'll go ahead and we'll sit over into the right hip and we'll fold the left leg back. So anyone with knee pain, I'll show this to you and you might decide you're not going to do it. You can do something different. But what I'll do from here, either bent left foot or straight leg, is I'm going to come back. Maybe I'm just going to come back to my forearms. I tend to like a block. And then I can kind of lean back into the block. And if I had a second block, I would put it here. So this is gonna have to be that this is okay for your knee and your hip. So if it's not, sometimes bending the knee. Now sitting on a block can help, but I find when I come back, I can't go back much further because then I have to have a little bit more space. So this is another option, is using a block. And if that's just not working anymore, then I want you to repeat what we did on Thursday. So I want you just to bend the knee and maybe elevate the hips, and you're just gonna get the stretch here. So it's much more passive. So block, blanket on the sacrum, and then this hip is lifted. So it's very similar to what we just did, but now we're just neutralizing the leg. So it's not an external rotation. Okay, so you choose first leg. And again, you might be up and you might be all the way down. So I want you to take about 10 breaths, really slowly breathing in, slowly breathing out. If you want to add those retentions at the top and the bottom of the breath, that's a good way to really move some energy. But if that's too stressed or strenuous, then you can breathe in and repeat the mantra Sat. And as you breathe out, Nam. And that's that identification with the truth of all things, like that essence of our divinity. Just like reminding yourself that that's what the message we want to imprint is, the truth. Nice, slow, deep breaths for about 5 more rounds. Really trying to, again, let the muscles of the front of the pelvis soften back. When you need to come out, you just come out, and you can take a moment before you switch sides. And then we'll just go right into the second side. And again, unmute yourself if you need any help or if the block doesn't work. Again, if there's any tensioning in the knee, I would say don't do it. Go back to that first one we had with the block underneath the body, because you definitely don't want to overwork this. And then again, just easing in. So you might just stop at the first place the body shows resistance. So maybe that's up almost vertical. And then over time, maybe you go back to the heel of the hands and maybe down. So just go really slow. There's no reason to go fast. We really want to listen and respond to the body. Nice deep breaths, either breathing in Sat, breathing out Nam. It gives your mind like a quieting, but yet nice and fortifying mantra. Or you could have those retentions and count. Okay, last breath, and then you'll slowly transition. So what's beautiful about when we open the psoas is it can actually make your inversions much more grounding and stabilizing, because these foundational muscles that really are our structural muscles have a little bit more vibrancy. And so if you want to try an inversion like headstand or shoulder stand, go ahead. You also can do bridge with a block or without a block. And just really feel, again, that lower psoas lengthening towards the knees and lifting towards your heart. Feel free too, if you're just not feeling that, if you're not feeling like getting upside down, feel free for sure. Just go ahead and take longer shavasana or take any additional stretches. You can certainly take a pigeon or something else that we didn't do. We're really going to ease into those deeper stretches this month so that we can really get a lot of good vitality and good opening more subtly first, so that we actually create like space that will maintain in the pelvis instead of just a momentary stretch, which the body will just recoil back into what it knows. So breathe in your inversion. And again, with your feet up, can you imagine the psoas line becoming now more the upward lifting energy towards your feet? So draw that psoas line from lower belly, pubic bone, inner thigh. Nice work, you guys. These look good. Yeah, nice. Okay. And then when you feel ready to come down, there's no rush at all. Go ahead and find whatever would feel good for your final. So if you need a final twist, feel free. One of my favorite twists that very passive but similar is to take that foot to the top of the thigh and then draw it across. That's a nice little chest stretch twist. So feel free to do that on each side if you need a final twist before you rest. And then when you're ready to rest, go ahead and find your comfortable seat. We're going to do that 3-part breath for a few moments just to really bring in some space. So you're going to breathe into the bottom of the belly, kind of feel the belly, lower rib region. Then you're going to start to breathe into the middle lung area. And then at the top of the inhale, you'll breathe into the collarbones, chest. And then it's a slow exhale, letting the chest drop, the ribs net in, and the belly. So just nice and slow. So you're not necessarily breathing in snippets, you're just breathing into parts. So really feeling bottom lungs, bottom ribs, into the middle lungs, middle ribs, upper chest, and then slow exhale. It's giving your body lots of space. Really stretch your breath out to be as long as it can without being stressful. Softening your brain, the third eye, center between your eyes, shoulders. Just focus the breath now to your heart. And just breathing into the heart. And I'm going to say the energetic heart to the center, like the sternum area. And then as you start breathing, travel a little bit below the heart, kind of going down the spine until you can start to branch out 2 inches outside the navel, where you'll travel down towards the pubic bone and inner thighs. So tracing that psoas line from the heart. So maybe that's your exhale is from the heart, down the psoas line, all the way to that inner thigh, inner knee, inner ankle. Then traveling up that same area to the heart, and then all the way down. You can repeat the mantra Sat and then Nam. There's maybe another mantra that you prefer. You can put that mantra into that line of energy. Do it one more time, that whole psoas line as you're breathing. Then from the heart, can you move upwards through the throat into the brain, center of the brain, and then travel back down to the heart. Kind of knowing the heart's already connected to the psoas line, breathing up to the third eye, to the center of the brain, and then back down to the heart. So much so that eventually the heart is now connected to the throat, the center of the brain, and it's all one line from the center of the brain all the way out to the inner feet, down that psoas line, and from the feet all the way up. And then just letting yourself relax and take that in. And then bring your right wrist in front of your left wrist. Hook the right pinky over the left. Hook the right middle finger over the left. Hook the right index over the left, and then join the ring finger and the thumb and place this mudra by your heart. As you're breathing into the heart, breathing into this potential we have to be so honest and truthful with who we are, with the states that we find ourselves in, by honoring our emotions and knowing how to skillfully navigate strong emotions, strong thoughts, strong reactions. And letting those emotions, those states, bring us more closely in touch with the reality that is before us, so that we may be truthful with reality, may be truthful in how we are relating to our reality, and what power there is in being truthfully aware and truthfully in response in a really skillful way to meet life fully with a courageous heart. A heart that can feel, a heart that can meet others and meet ourselves in our environments. May all beings be happy and free, and may our words and our thoughts and our actions contribute to the happiness and freedom of ourselves and all other beings. Breathe in a big sat and breathe out a nam. Join your hands together, bow towards your intention to gather today, and your intention to be truthful to the true essence that you are in all that you do, whether it's walking your dog, whether it's cooking breakfast, whether it's just sitting quietly with yourself. May we always know and find our truth. Namaste. Have a super awesome Sunday, you guys. I'll see you on Monday. Let me know how you feel. And